Hello! This is the follow-up video in which I promise to make some sort of tutorial to making my own 3D VTuber model on Blockbench. I will try to be as concise as possible, but the process was recorded live on stream, and I was struggling. So if you're expecting a follow along, I'm sorry. I will leave the VODs up, that should help if something happens for troubleshooting. Before we begin, it is imperative that you have an idea of what kind of model you want to make. Of course, that's where any artistic project starts. Try to look for as many references as you can. I made the mistake of not having a good reference last time and my anatomy ratio was a bit weird, at least for me. I also made a sketch from all of my references, but like always, I'm no artist, and this sketch turns out to be as useful as a chicken nugget. Not too much, but just quite right. I still need to go back and forth looking for a new reference for the other body parts. Hopefully you all won't need to do this. Anyway, I don't think there is anything much from the modeling side, considering there are many tutorials, time-lapse, etc. out there from 3D artists that are better than me about at explaining and modeling too. Do keep in mind that we want our model to move, so another terminology that we want to remember is sadly topology. Long story short, topology in 3D model is how you make your model, your mesh, how you put the vertices and all, and make sure they are ready for whatever your plan is with that model. Because we are creating a moving humanoid model, the topology that we need to keep in mind is around the elbow, shoulders, fingers, the stuff that bends. Because if you ignore it, it will still work, just not look as good. Like if you remember with my last model how some part of my arm just collapses into itself. One part of this I want to bring up is the mouth as well. I decided to go with a 3D open mouth unlike my last one, which is a 2D image on a 3D plane. Last one was interesting. I made a bunch of planes with different mouth drawings and just pulled them out when I required that shape. I hid most of the open mouth inside the head, while the one I'm gonna use is going to go back to the original position. However, I don't know why, but this technique had a hard time reading my face tracking, so it will struggle having a dynamic mouth movement when talking. All of these are VSF stuff. There is also lip syncing that I think doesn't work as well, even if I crank it to the max. It might be because I'm using a tool, VRM plugin, that wasn't optimized for 2D visuals on a 3D model, so I want to see if 3D will work better. But if you had any idea how to actually make VSF and 2D mouth work, I would really love to know. I prefer models like Mega Man Legends, you see. I even want to make my model even simpler, and it's just a shame that I have no idea how to make it work in VSF. A lot of the tricks I found almost always use Unity to an extent, like UV-based moving the texture instead of creating a whole new plane. And I'm pretty sure it's very manageable to learn, not to mention the quality of it. But I wanted to show you how simple it is to make a model without even touching Unity. That's why we will keep that technique away for now. There is also a lot, and I mean a lot, of tutorials of doing so on Blender with its own controller. But I do not think you can apply that to VRM models, or I might not be knowledgeable enough. Just putting that out there. Once you are done with modeling, go ahead to texturing. I am not a big fan of Blender's shader editor, UV mapping, unwrapping, mambo jumbo, so I stuck with Blockbench. BB's way of texturing is just straight into it, like painting a statue. Go ahead and do your thing however you like. Later be here, BB can actually F you up as well. So you know how in Blender you'd be able to choose how the unwrapping works? Because you handle everything manually yourself, the possibility of an error from auto unwrapping is actually lower. I got BB to auto unwrap, and because of how it divides the texture, some faces just overlap with each other, which makes for a bigger headache for me later on. Do whatever you want to. If you're just starting, I think you're gonna be fine with BB, but if you want to go in depth, just learn Blender texturing later. It's better. I honestly am not a good artist. This looks terrible. You better look for a better teacher for texturing. For now, we'll automate rigging by going into Mixamo. I exported my model into FBX with these settings. You wanna check on embed texture so that it can be imported as well to Blender. After that, upload your model to Mixamo and put the points provided in the right place. Your model might look weird if it is low poly. I don't know why this is happening. It didn't happen with my last model. which is back to the reason why I have a love-hate relationship with 3D modeling. It is fun, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of troubleshooting that feels so technical, detached from the creating stuff part. Anyway, once your model is ready, download it and it's ready to go into Blender. Before that too, make sure to have two versions of Blender, one 2.8 and the other is 4.0. This is because I'm trying to make this process as automated as possible, anything to make it easier. One of the tools we're going to use is Cat's Blender add-on, but Cats cannot be used on the latest version of Blender. That is why we're going to use 2.8 instead to clean up our model, prepare shape keys, and then automate it using Cats before moving on. On Blender v2.8, install the Cats plugin. To do this, go to the GitHub page, specifically the link page here, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and then Install. Then just navigate to the location where you downloaded the plugin. Also, make sure to not extract the zip file. Blender installs the zip file whole. After that, import your model to Blender 2.8. This is important because Blender, just as any production software I suppose, will not open files from newer versions. So, we will work on 2.8 first, then finish up on the later one. Once you have imported your model into Blender, make sure everything is working correctly as you expected. If there is no texture, make sure you're using the right viewport shading settings. Clean up the additional bones that you don't need, while also adding new ones that you need. For this one, I do not have additional bones, but the last one I had two with earrings. You might need those if you have a tail, ears, or stuff. This is where the Cats plugin starts to show its use. You can use the Cats plugin, according to Prichu, to remove extra bones and fix the names. I should have done this as well, but I forgot. And then try moving your model in pose mode to see if the model was correctly rigged or not. As mine was not, I have to go through all the hooplas again to troubleshoot why it is like this. Thankfully, this is the point of the video and hopefully you won't need to go as far as I did. If you do, I've been there, I feel ya. This is a case of the auto rigger not understanding which part of the object should it connect with the bone. This can be easily repaired by going into weight painting. Weight painting is like telling the bones which part of the model they should be connected to. To go into weight paint, this is like basic AF, but as I was spending a good 8 hours during my first time just trying to figure this out, I figured I'd also put this here to not waste your time. Go to object mode, select the skeleton first, then hold shift, select the object you want to move. After that, go into that tab and select weight paint. Now, only the object you've selected should pop up. Then just do your thing. How much movement or size or whatever you want to move. I separated each body part into its own object, so it's easier for me. I just need to bind each skeleton to each object. Also, be mindful, sometimes an object will have not only its own skeleton but also its neighbor. An example is like having the right leg, having R leg rig, but also L leg rig, R thigh rig, L thigh rig, L foot rig, and so on. You will want to remove the ones that you don't need. To do this, go to the lower right tab, I'll show you the video, go to this triangle tab and you'll find vertex groups. To remove an unwanted skeleton, select the name, right side there is a minus button. But I also want you to understand, as long as it is working as intended, don't change anything from it. The worst thing is making up a problem that didn't happen before. I know this is like making a rocket with duct tapes, but I cannot be bothered with going even further into the technicals than I already did. One of the reasons why I am not a software developer too. All of my codes are built with toothpicks. Once you're done with the poses, if you're using a transparent PNG style on your texture, you might notice it has a black background. This is normal because we haven't told Blender to not do that yet and to use transparency. See what I'm talking about? All of these are very technical. It's like visual scripting. To do this, you go to the lower part of the window, lower left, there is a tab Option, select the shader editor. Now connect the alpha from texture file PNG to the alpha on principled BSDF. If, like mine, you have two texture file PNG, use the one that already has its color tab connected to BSDF's base color tab. Don't ask me why, if it works, then it works. Now the fun part, shape keys. Vtuber models use shape keys a lot. It's like where they save their expressions, face movements, etc. Contrary to the normal use of shape keys, which I believe is for animating. Before we begin, I want to show you the two ways of using shape keys. With my last model, you realize that I'm going for a low poly, open mouth texture on the face like the faces on PlayStation 2 Rockman, yes. There is that style, and the other one is the one I'm going to be doing, which is just a model with an open mouth. So, I have a space in the middle of my face. Yes, that is how mouths work. Depending on which style you're going for, the approach is going to be different. I am going to explain how to do the PlayStation 2 Rockman style first because I am not doing it now, but hopefully my explanation will be helpful for anyone to have a baseline. There is also two techniques that I know, but first you must have the texture for your mouth. Depending on how complex you want them, open mouth, closed mouth, smiling, smirk, frown, etc. has to be on one texture. With my last model, it looked like he's just speaking normally, but in actuality, he is hiding a bunch of the same shape of the mouth inside his head. This is the first trick. I have so many copies of the mouth area that each has a different part of the texture. If I am not using them, I hide them inside the head. When I want to use them, say I want to make an A sound, I would bring the object with the texture with my mouth doing an A sound to the front and hide the base silent mouth inside the head. But with how shape keys work, they are not Boolean. They are not built on ones and zeros, true or false. They have increments. This works well if you're using a normal model with normal mouth, facial expressions, and so on. But with low poly, it will actually look like your mouth just pops out of your head. To do this, simply turn the shape keys into Boolean, and so it's either the mouth hidden or the mouth pops up, nothing in between. The other technique is not something that I've tried before, but I'm guessing it's a lot more efficient. Since the previous ones use so many more objects for the texture, obviously it's going to increase the amount of triangles on set model. With this one, it is a lot more complex but doesn't require additional shapes. For this, you're going to need to do a lot more things in Unity, which is not what I'm trying to do. The way it is done is by telling the system to just slide the texture over the UV to the targeted part. If you're a better tech person than me, I highly recommend using this because it is a lot more optimized. With that out of the way, let's do the shape keys for the normal mouth. Again, just a refresher, this means mouths that have vertex point to shape around then a flat image. This is very simple. First, you gotta make a base shape key. Just select your head object, go to object data, and there is a tab for shape keys. Press the plus icon and you'll get the first basis shape key. Do not change anything. You might feel adventurous, but leave the basis shape key alone. It is there to reset everything back. It is the base. And I don't even mean neutral. Just imagine the basis key as the key where you do the background modeling stuff, not animating expressions. There is another key for neutral expression, which you can also just copy the basis by just pressing plus. Now, anything else that you press plus will be based on the basis shape key, which is why it's very important that you do leave it alone. I changed mine because I wanted to have a resting face like so, but later found out you have another shape key for neutral. Anyway, from then on, you want to focus on the first three visemes, A, O, and T. If you need help on the shape of those keys, you can browse the internet first to see what they would look like. Once that is done, here is another part where the Cats plugin shines, and the reason why I want to try a regular mouth for this time. Open the Cats plugin tab, on Viseme select the corresponding Visemes, play around with the mix intensity, click create, and wait. After that, all the other Visemes will be ready to use. And just like that, automation. I mean, not AI, but we're not done playing with shape keys. Remember, we need to make the expressions as well. Although VRM has some common expression that you can feel, I personally do not think you need to feel them all. Just make the one that you feel like you want. For me, it's fun, angry, and sorrow. I just changed the mouth and eyelids. Yours might be eyebrows here. Don't question me why I use eyelids to match with said expression. The two important ones though are blinking. Create two, each for left and right. Here I am using the old technique I mentioned, simply because I couldn't be bothered modeling an eye. Can you blame me? I need the eyeball, I need the socket. not to mention the eyelids and lashes, so I just drew on them. Anyway, here is a reference to the outside if any of you need them. Okay, we should be almost done here. Last time, make sure to check everything's working. You know why I tell you this? Cause I almost have mine up. If you click on the viewport overlays, there is an option for face orientation. This will show your model if the faces they are facing, outside or inside. I am pretty sure if it's blue, it's outside, while red is inside. This is important because if half of your model is red or facing inside, it will not show up because I guess VSF only likes them from the outside. It will be just like your model got the secret cloaking device used from Metal Gear Solid 5 the Phantom Pain, if they forgot to make the whole thing. So make sure you flip the right side up and then save a backup one more time before pressing finalize in the CATS plugin before we proceed to the latest version of Blender. As before, we would like to install the plugin first. It should be explained clearly on Malactus VR's channel, but I will briefly explain again how. Go to the GitHub page, to releases, download IO extended scene file, do not extract the zip, go to user preferences and add-ons, install and navigate to where the file is. You should also do the same for the base VRM plugin, since I think Mal's VRM plugin is just an add-on of the add-on. Hell yeah, open source! Now, the reason why we are using this plugin is to completely omit using Unity so that we only need to learn Blender at most. One thing I also realized is this plugin, the base VRM plugin I mean, is kinda powerful as well. I'm not gonna get into it, but if you're interested, there is a page where they keep their documentation. I don't know if you need this reminder, but make sure to always have multiple saved copies throughout the process. This will make it easier to go back in case something doesn't work, and especially true for this time because you won't be able to go back to V2.8 anymore. Then load the save file on the latest Blender. Everything should look the same now. First, write the important metadata on the VRM tab. After that, you need to bind the required bones to the VRM humanoid tab. If you have additional bones like fingers, toes, eyes, etc., you can include them in the optional bones tab. Once that is done, go to VRM mouse tool to automatically generate and bind the shape keys for VSF. Everything should automatically be bound and you should have no other work required. That's what I call being naive. I forgot that the CATS plugin still sometimes misses some preferred naming convention, and thus most, if not all, the shape keys are not bound. Granted, it has been beautifully generated and we should be able to do this manually, which we will, just for the sake of not letting Blender effing our model anymore. The other bind that you'd like to do is if you have jiggle physics. No, not always for but in my last model I have earrings, for example. Maybe you have cat ears, tails, hair ends, anything that you want to jiggle. The bones need to be bonded as a spring bone. They did not cook on not calling this the jiggle bone. With Mal's VRM plugin, all you need to do is select the group of the bones, e.g. whole tail, on edit mode and click add selected to spring bone group. Repeat for each jiggle you want to make. Lastly, kinda unimportant for Vtuber models but why not, is adding colliders. The way is similar to Jigglypuffs but just select add as colliders. Colliders are basically the bones that have, well, colliders. I think the use case of this is mostly so that you can jiggle the jiggle yourself. This is the time where you should make another backup before finalizing through Mal's plugin. Sadly for me, I still find that the bones are being freaky, so I need to repaint the weights again. Once that is done, you thought we would be ready to block our new model to VSF, but guess what? Mine came with a bug texture again. So I just went back and forth between Blender and VSF trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I am probably going to spitball this fix since with the texturing on Blender, it is low-key touching the realm of visual scripting. And you know who hates coding? That's right, this computer science student right here. My problem came from the transparency not being detected. I am pretty sure the way to do this fix is to go to shader editor. Your texture PNG file should have its own window. There is an alpha node connected to the alpha node on the principled BSDF, which what it should be if you've been following me. If not, Godspeed.
Bruh.
This should work it out and transparency should be back to your model. Clap clap, congrats. Except, I don't know about you, but I want my model's texture to not only look low poly, but also flat, unlit light under VSF. Because, well, low poly models don't use outside lighting. For the first problem, relatively simple. Shader editor, your texture window, first list, interpolation, pick, closest. Now that's done. The second one is a lot more complex. I still don't know how I fixed this one. At first, I just copied how I did it in my old model, but it still didn't work. Then my bet is on this one. I changed principled BSDF tints and colors to black, and that seems to give the best result. It might be a combination of the two, but try the latter first. If it still doesn't work, try copying my whole node right here. I think I will screenshot this whole screen as well to make it more readable. Just try your best to copy this. We are finally ready to export our model. Take another backup file, please. Now with that done, go select your armature again. Use the finalize button in Miles VRM plugin. This will probably mess up a good chunk of your model. Maybe.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Mine only came with misaligned weights, so again, if you have that trouble, just go back through the video and watch it again. Might as well give me double the views. Hey, while at that, why don't you press the like button and subscribe button? Okay, I'm done selling out. Once clear, press File, Export, choose VRM because we want the file on VSF. VSF can only take VRM files, I think. Okay, we're done with Blender. You can take a breather here. In fact, you should pat yourself on the back. Good job on making it this far. Install VSF. I don't think I need to tell you how to install a program. Add avatar, navigate to your VRM file, and there you have it. Go ahead and test it first. See the settings, which one you like or not. Check the movements, lip syncing, etc. I changed the light settings to have 0 sun and max ambient on gray to make the colors look real flat, but you do you. Also, VSF has a halftone effect, which I'ma be honest, has some insane aura. Very demure. And with that, our journey is finally done. Once again, thank you so much for making it this far. Congratulations! I know I got a lot of requests for this. I apologize for taking it this long. Even after the first journey, I still get hiccups here and there, and there, and there. And I'm sure someone else could do a better job explaining than me. Modeling, texturing, designing, and more. For that, if some part of the process you're still unsure of, go ahead and feel free to ask me down below. I will try my best to answer to the best of my ability. I am really glad that I found like-minded people who went through the same thought process as me, going, what if Vtuber about Blockbench? It's really fun meeting you all here, even though some of you say, hey man, no pressure. But all I got after receiving so many comments is just a flare-up motivation to go back and finish this plan. I spent so long cooking this video in the background, I think from 6 months ago. I tried going back, but then any other setbacks just make me feel dejected. Not to mention, I think I talked about this in the first video, this is part of an artistic skill, right? It is an artistic hobby, but a big chunk of 3D modeling is very troubleshooty. It almost feels like tech stuff. I hate that. I already got that on college. But then again, you guys came and shared your experience. There are people, I said people, but I know it's probably just 2 or 3 guys all, but still, people who had said that they would wait until I finish the video. I cannot just let you guys down. I feel this burning passion and responsibility that at least I will do this one justice and make a long breakdown of the process, albeit flawed and imperfect as it is. I will also leave my whole progress archive playlists on the description below if you want to follow them to a T. I hope you also had a blast with this journey. Go make some stuff. Don't give up. Keep going at it until you make it. Goodbye. Oh, by the way, I won't be using 3D models anymore, lol. My rig isn't strong enough to handle 3D models and the latest game at the same time. Bye-bye. Please, no. What the fuck? Cool? I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think this build is working